You're listening to a Lost in the Groove segment.
Having good vibes with your bones and joints. Taking a trip into the groove. American groove into stoner world. Gonna
Yeah, it's one of those weird things nobody ever asks, like, how did the people from Cheech and Chong never get arrested? You know,
Like, how'd they get away with the process of making Cheech and Chong?
no idea. I mean,
you could say the same thing about, like, like Scarface. Like, obviously cocaine wasn't legal when Scarface was made, but the entire crew was, like, on it.
Yeah.
And, like, everybody else. And
yeah, I mean, if you've watched the psycho scenes in Scarface, you're like, bro, these people were not sober in any shape or form of making this movie.
I know that in the 80s and 90s, it was really popular on film sets that
Still
people
is.
would do a lot of drugs.
Gotta be careful with the dog, because they're eating cats and dogs in Springfield.
It makes me worry. I love my baby.
So I'm one of those that, like, I actually got curious and I did some research.
Yeah.
Turns out there's a few little bits and pieces Trump forgot to add in, and I thought it would be appropriate. So the full story, from what we know of, is in Haiti, because currently they're in, like, the country is, like, completely collapsed. They have gangs there that are basically running the country. And then what these gangs have been doing is they've been, like, sex trafficking and, like, selling people out of Haiti and smuggling them in through the Mexican border. These people, like, eat fucking dirt cookies. They don't have, like, any money or any type of resources or anything like that. So when they arrive in a place like Springfield, like in Ohio, obviously, they duck, that's food. They see cat, that's food.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like, that's dinner.
Unfortunately, my mom told me the same thing about back at the end of the Vietnam War. There were a lot of immigrants that came, refugees, and it wasn't cats, it was specifically dogs. I guess it was quite common to eat a dog, and obviously not everyone, but it is a practice that is unusual to us. But also, like, you have to think about people's budgets and why they're making the choices that they're making. Like, they're legit, like, desperate and hungry. I mean, my dog is a luxury, like, and it points out the fact that, like, I have enough money to eat if I've got, a little nugget that I just have around and I spend money on its food. Like, I mean, we live pretty cushy situations here, but I've also worked really hard in order to have my cushies, my little nugget.
I think it's very much as an aptitude of being able to not only observe, but to be able to use some level of critical thinking. Because, like, yeah, it does sound absurd when you hear it.
I think he could have addressed the topic differently.
It's
like,
Trump.
Yeah, I know. He always just blurts out whatever's on his mind.
He's a comic that's not a comic. He's a comedian. He's a businessman comedian. That's what Trump
very
is.
much. Yeah, he's an entertainer. I mean, through and through.
He says it. I mean, it's not us. Like,
people like him. They do. As much as, like, there's a lot of people that hate him, like, people like him. Like, he gets high viewership. I'll never forget when he said that we should put bleach inside of people's veins, though. that was, I don't know. It was just like,
Have you been doing drugs in the 90s you're not telling us about?
I
Because
don't
I
know.
remember
It
when
was
people were
just,
like sniffing Sharpies just to get fucking high.
it was like, the dumbest kid in class, like, blurted something out without thinking. It reminds me, remember I was dating that guy that was just like dumb as fuck. And I was like, I can't do this any longer.
Oh my god, you dated somebody that was dumb as fuck?
Well, I shouldn't be mean.
No,
you
like we're
know?
being honest.
I remember when Michael didn't know what the 405 was.
Yeah, that was surprising. I mean, most people know what the 405 is because if you live out in LA, it's the thing that nags you every single morning.
I don't know, there was something else that he did that really, really just like, I was like, I couldn't get over it. Like, it just like bothered me.
It's kind of strange because there are really wonderful people out there, like really wonderful people, like caring, compassionate, kind, intelligent, 9 yards. But they hate Trump and call him like Hitler and through like the 9 yards. It's like almost like this is not even about Trump. It's like, can you imagine just like tomorrow, everybody's like, Tom Cruise is the devil because he supports Scientology. And because he supports Scientology, he's the devil. Nobody's going to do that. No one.
I don't know. I mean, I
You do see where I'm coming from. Do you see the point?
I can't. Yeah, I can't say that I like him by any means. I don't.
I'm just using Tom Cruise as an example, but like in that regard,
Tom Cruise I like.
What I'm saying is that a person's personal life and their issues and problems, whether it be important or not, is very true. But what is the person offering and what they're giving is what I feel is the most important. Because it's like,
oh shit,
you don't fuck the person, like you're not having sex with them 24/7, right? You know, you're not their cousin, aunt, or uncle or parent. So like, it's not.
Yeah, you don't have to live with them,
right? You know, people are like, oh my god, he's a president for the next 4 years. I'm like, there are other people besides the president. There are other people that come with the president. You know, that's what I said like at the beginning. It all goes back to critical thinking. You got to use critical thinking with this. You know, you just.
That I truly believe that it's all bullshit. I truly believe that I shouldn't waste a single second of my life giving a fuck about either one of them.
Because it really doesn't matter.
No, and I hate for it to steal any of my time. Louis, no. I hate for it to steal any of my time, my attention away from the people in my life that are important, and the things that are important. And the only thing that I care about when it comes to them is the fact that sometimes I worry about the fact that they're going to get us all killed.
It's always
pretty
a
much
probability.
it. Like, I'm always like, I'm fine. Yeah. And then when I hear people talk about like, well, and I'm like, they're going to get the whole world blown up, dude.
Yeah,
they're
well, you know nothing. Like, you did. It's strange.
They're going to make the big boom boom.
I like to have the attitude of small government and two things. One is, if you come onto my goddamn property and I tell you to leave and you do not, and it is dark out, and I pull out a pew-pew and I shoot you with my pew-pew, and you dead, not my problem. Not my problem. Sorry.
I have no
Sorry.
interest in shooting anyone for
Okay,
any
what I'm
reason.
getting at is we all work our asses off to get where we want to, okay? And the little respect that we can have as individuals is my property, my land, my rules. You're in
Yeah,
my
well,
space. You're
but
in
what does
my
this have to
space.
do with anything?
No, it has to do with like, I just, I like to have fun. And I like to be able to live to know that I can protect myself. I can be myself. You know, I can go out and just fucking have a shindig while I'm at it.
See, with me, it's like, yeah, it's important to me that I have my gun and that if somebody breaks
pew
into my
pew.
house, I can protect myself. But, like, I also know that if the government wanted to get rid of me, they just come in with enough people and they just overpower me.
I don't
And it
mean the
wouldn't matter at
government. I
all.
don't mean the government. I mean like just in general.
That's kind of who I worry about is like, I mean, I guess like I kind of, there's a few, other things, but like I think the probability of my own government coming after me, my own city, my own whatever, just the police around here or whoever's in charge of locking people up, I worry more about them coming and fucking with me than I do anybody
See,
else.
this is like, I go back to this so many times. Small government makes the most sense in my head because when you work together as a community, because every town, every city, every place has their different needs. You know, you take a place like Des Moines, Iowa, it's a lot smaller than South Florida, you know, like Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, you know, and you compare that to New York City, which New York City is a lot smaller than South Florida, yet requires a lot more resources. I'm not saying that, like, you know, having the attitude of expecting everything to come to you is the most selfish thing ever. Expecting the government to take care of you, no. Go out and do the actual real work. Like, you want to have a good life? Go out and get yourself a really good life. There are ways and means to be able to do those things. But I like them not to butt in my business, you know,
Oh,
as much
wouldn't
as
that be
possible.
nice?
Yeah, it would be really nice. Hold on, I
They've
think
got their,
I have Twix. Yeah.
I don't know, they've got their eyes on absolutely everything that we do.
Come on.
There's not a single thing
This
that
blanket.
they don't know about. So it's basically impossible for them to, give you any privacy of any kind.
No, and you know what the most hilarious thing is? By the way, just a fun note of the day. Okay. They haven't managed to have 2 assassination attempts on Trump's life so far. And
they both fail. Is
they
that
both failed attempt assassinations, you know, and they were making like comparisons to like Hitler because he had like multiple assassinations. And I'm like just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my God, are you comparing like Hitler's assassination attempts to fucking Trump's? Like, Jesus Christ.
it just means that they haven't figured out how to rig the election yet.
No, not yet. Well, I mean, Hitler burned down a diplomatic building, which was one of his tactics of how he was able to win. So I don't know what they have up their sleeves. I'm gonna tell you though, from like what I've heard, it is kind of amazing because it seems like RFK, which is on Trump's cabinet currently, he's planning on taking a direct route of fixing our food problem, like facing hands on how food is basically being produced here in this country, and then Tulsi Gabbard is kind of taking more of the approach. We're all about the artist. That is the whole purpose of this podcast, period. And you have a really valuable tool. You can share this with artists, people that are creative, someone that can enjoy this podcast and really enjoy the experience of Lost in the Groove. So, with that, let's jump back to today's episode, shall we? Which, like, pertaining to like our border and our health crisis as currently we're dealing with here in the States.
Well, I mean, you can't really change our food crisis. Our food crisis is something that's happened over a long period of time. There's
It's
a
not
lot
going to
of
happen overnight, but it takes the steps to start something.
can't be done.
I think it can.
No, they bought and destroyed a large amount of our farmland. Yeah, so
You're dealing
can't
with a
get it
man.
back.
You're dealing with a man that was able to clean up the Hudson River, which has been a polluted river for hundreds of years.
I mean, it's better to be trying than not. Like, I could say that, but like it's not reversible, the damage that's been done.
I think that I hear
Unless
where you're
they're going to tear down buildings and regrind up the soil and create new farmland.
What he did, so I'm just using this as a comparison because he has been that person that has been able to break through, and what he did with the Hudson River was he exposed what the New York sanitation department was doing. And can you sit down? Oh my God. I'm dealing with a little.
Twix is being special at the moment.
So he basically exposed, and then they basically had a team of scientists that figured out the right ways to make sure that this water was no longer contaminated. And what it took was for people to actually see what they were doing. And they said no. Because before, they hid all that stuff from everybody. So nobody had the ability and the resources to change anything. They locked that behind the key. You have somebody that's able to get that key and unlock that door. And I'm not saying like he's God, but he's the type of particularly environmental lawyer that knows what he's doing. And he's just good at what he does. Plain and simple.
What is it that he wants to do now?
He basically wants to change.
No, but I mean, like, is he running for an office or like?
Well, I don't know exactly where Trump would place him if he potentially was voted in. But I think with the type of approach he probably will take is what happened in the UK. So what will basically happen is, so just people not familiar, in the UK, there are certain food items that are illegal. You cannot put them in foods. This is why a lot of products that exist here in the States are very different over there. So that's the first thing.
It's interesting because, like, there's a part of me that's down with that, but then, like, also it's like, man, isn't that just more big government? Like,
no, because some of these chemicals are cancerous. Like, they slowly kill you. And the thing about it's like where they manage fine in Europe and the UK and Canada with all of this stuff removed, and it tastes just as fine. I mean, it's not the healthiest crap. I don't think like he's coming in to like destroy everything, but being able to like allow us to have the same measures Europe has as well. If you think about it, Europeans by far are healthier than Americans, and it has to do with their diet.
Their teeth, but yeah.
Yeah, but like they also have healthier food. Oh my God, you threw in the teeth. You threw in the teeth. Look at you. Hey, I caught that shit. Ah, yeah, beautiful.
I like being competitive, like throwing shade from time to time when I can because
please.
I don't have a lot of wins in my life. Like I do and I don't, but like if I've gotten up on somebody, I'll be like, ha. I don't know. But not all the time, but like when it comes to something lighthearted, like, well, at least we've got better teeth. But I mean, the British people, I don't know. I remember it wasn't too long ago that like the British people didn't have like a good portion of Europe. They didn't have heat. They didn't have gas. They weren't able to heat their homes.
They're not a perfect society, but
And remember everybody was like all pissed off about, lack of energy. People were talking about tearing up specific pieces of furniture or tearing up something and using it as firewood or like, and it just kind
holy
of
shit,
symbolized
girl. This is pretty dark.
it did, but you know what I mean? Like they
Hmm.
were that poor. And basically it was something that was said when the queen died, and they were talking about, the comparisons of how much the funeral service cost compared to like the energy and power of the people of the surrounding area. And like if you wanted to heat some homes as compared to, just some of the flower arrangements or different things like that. I'm not talking crap about the queen. I personally, I think that the queen deserves respect, and
Oh, she was
I
fabulous, even in her old age. I mean, her
think
outfits.
she did what she could while she could.
Oh, for sure. I just it was like also one thing I remember when I was out there, and this is something we don't have in the States, where when you buy dairy products, it basically breaks down the dairy product for you. So it tells you out there, they'll have like a little chart and it'll tell you like how much is it part of your day. And it'll be like a little grid. And they're like in different colors, like depending of what it is. And it's just like those little things. I know it sounds silly and stupid, but it helps you like better understand of like how much yogurt you should be buying. Like how much milk do you actually need? Like how much butter you should like. You can actually Google this. Like it's a little grid thing that they put on them. Um,
Well, I remember back when we were kids, they didn't even have like
no
I
nutrition
base
facts.
there was zero nutrition facts, and the ingredients weren't listed or anything. There was nothing on the box that gave you like actual information about what it was that you were buying. And then I would say sometime around, oh, I would think I was in like, God, I'm scared to say that I was in 6th grade, but it might have been elementary school, but like feels like possibly early junior high. I don't know. And I don't know if that was done state by state or if that was like across the country kind of thing. But I imagine there were no food labels. And I remember when they started to enforce it, and I remember there was a really
1990, honey.
yeah, see? So I guess I was like 5 years old. So elementary school does make more sense. But there was a real stigma about people who read the back of the box. Like it was like ha ha ha, like you're a big dork if you actually look at like what's in there, like those type of people, the people who check the
Isn't that
box. Like,
strange that there was a time that you would just buy items willy nilly and you didn't know
I
what
mean,
the
I
fuck was
I
in there?
still do because like I know my favorites, but what I think is really important and what I use a lot is when you look at how many ounces are in things. So I'm always looking at
12, 12 fluid ounces.
like
This is
I'll
actually
look
one of my
at
favorite sodas. It's called Squirt.
I know what squirt is.
Hey, it's Dave, and I quickly just wanted to jump in and say if you've been enjoying the podcast and enjoying this episode, if you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that'll be so greatly appreciated. Because here's the thing, someone might read that review and make the choice if they want to listen to the podcast. You get to help grow this podcast with us. How fucking cool is that? Let's jump back to today's episode. Oh, that's so good. And it's one of the sodas that has the lowest amount of sugars. I mean, it's pretty high, but it's like 37. It's not
That's
like,
cool.
yeah. Doesn't make you want to squirt though.
But a lot of times I'll look at like 2 brands of cookies and the prices are the same. But then I look down at the ounces and, one is 12 and one is, 8. And I'm like, well,
Or
holy
6.
shit. I should definitely get the 12-ounce one. That's like a whole lot more cookie.
But they've been doing like shrinkflation. So a lot of the times you'll
Yeah.
buy the products and it'll look like you're getting like big, but then you're like, hold on, this is smaller.
Yeah. So like we used to buy bacon in pounds, but now it's actually 12 ounces.
Whoa.
Like they've taken 4 ounces out of the bacon, and it's basically 4 slices, maybe 5 slices of bacon less than we ever used to, and it costs way more than it ever used to. So they've shrunkflationed the amount of. It's not a pound of bacon anymore. It's not a
People
pound of ground beef. It's not a pound of anything. It's 12 ounces now. Not even
people
14.
people like to complain that, and it's true, like our groceries are expensive. But the problem is not the grocery store. The problem is where the food comes from, which is the farmers. Farmers right now, like it nobody talks about this, but I'm going to say it. They are really struggling in this country because a lot of them sell out. They don't have a choice. They're not bringing in enough revenue as independent farmers.
Yeah, so a lot of them sold their land.
And a lot of the independent farmers that need to stay alive, they need to survive on industrial processing on their farms, which basically like destroys their entire crops because they're forced to use pesticides to be able to grow anything. And the run out that comes out of these farms is just absolutely atrocious. Like it's just toxic mush soil growing like zombie clone plants. I don't even know any other way of saying it, right?
I don't know. We're just doing everything against nature. Everything
Basically,
we're
yeah.
doing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just,
exactly. Oh my god, yeah. We're going against nature.
and it's just that's why it's not working and it's destroying everything. And
There's a
like
right way to do this. There
we're
is.
ignoring the fact that we're human. It's unnatural. All of it. The freeways, the cars, we got to get these jobs or we sit inside of the cubicles forever just so that we can buy the food and we don't have the farms anymore, so then the money is like the food is worth too much
Here's
and it's like it's insane. And then then you buy the food and it goes bad in the refrigerator because you're not home enough because you're at the office and you're too tired to cook it. It's just like insane.
insane in the
Like
membrane.
because it's true that we as Americans throw away a lot of food. And I think it's because we're not home enough. Like, I mean, I know I'm not home enough.
Neither am I.
I never have time to cook myself a meal.
I had
A little bit, but not really.
yeah, I had to take like
Yeah.
a little bit of time, but like no.
It would cut into my sleep to cook myself food, and I already don't get enough, and I'm sure a lot of listeners can relate to this. It's just like it's bothered me for a long time that what is asked of people is unreasonable.
It is, and it's one of those things again where I come back to small. We are a country of states, and each state has their resources and potential of being able to grow things. Okay, I understand that there are certain states that don't have those abilities. Like, obviously, Nevada cannot be a stable state on their own. Okay, you can't really grow anything in Nevada.
What about New Jersey?
You can in New Jersey, and there's quite a if I'm not mistaken, in New Jersey they grow potatoes. There's onion farmers that are out there. There's a couple other things. We used to live in a country where it's called local produce. So if you know what that means is whatever was grown locally is what you had. Whatever was not in season, you didn't have it. And like, it's nice to have everything, but it's sometimes to realize, like, in order to be able to survive, going like industrial and full broad throughout the country doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Well, yeah, we've got stuff like Costco. We've got
Explain to me on how you can have pineapple 365 days a year in the United States. How is that possible? How does that
It's
make any
been-
sense?
it's been going on for a long time.
Right? And you know what people did when there wasn't that fresh fruit? They bought cans. They bought canned fruit. Terrible. Terrible. Disgusting.
I don't know. I'm not a pineapple eater either
No, I
way.
know. You know me. I'm a Jew. I throw schmutz out whenever I can. I just threw the pineapple out. You know, we could throw papayas if we want to, or cantaloupes. This honeydew. Can't forget about watermelon.
My dad absolutely loves honeydew melon.
My grandfather loves honeydew. I can't stand the stuff. I don't like cantaloupes. I don't like papayas, and I do not like honeydew. Nope.
It's funny because dad doesn't like cantaloupe. Like, he does not like cantaloupe, but he loves honeydew. But cantaloupe and honeydew are always paired together, you know? And so
I think
it's
it's
always
because
like
of their. I think it's
the
because they're like
colors.
colors. Yeah.
they're pretty together, yeah.
They just
I don't know.
taste
Honestly,
right.
I don't feel like I've ever really like eaten a cantaloupe or a honeydew. I never
I
like
like-
go for that. I'm always like, where is that muffin?
I like peaches.
You know, when
I love me some peaches.
dude, there was a phase there where I used to go out to the farmers market in California, Studio City, and they had these farmers that had man, all these different types of peaches. I feel like I've told you about it before because that's where I got
Peaches,
the-
peaches, 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 peaches. Sorry.
It's where I got these peaches that were like a blend of like nectarine peach.
Okay.
And then they also had peaches that were blended with like plums. And they had all these like hybrid peaches. And one of them was called like a dragon's egg. And it was just like the most amazing thing. It was so juicy, yet like had a little bit of like a crunch.
$3 for each.
I like
but
a
yeah.
nectarine. Yeah. Well, back then this was like 2015, so it really wasn't that bad.
I know. I'm like exaggerating.
And they gave samples.
Jewish quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love throwing shit around. But yeah, like it's kind of, I like to think within that type of mentality where there's so much you can do as a community than anything else. So, you know, I just I wonder if, you know, looking at the broader picture, let's not focus on the next 4 years. Let's focus on the next 15. You know, if you look at it that way, you know, you could see possible change slowly, because, you know, you're trying to change something that's been like the staple for 40 years. And that doesn't happen overnight, but you need to start somewhere. Just got to.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the screwed up stuff that is now took a good 15, 20 years to happen. So you can use that as evidence.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that weed is still illegal in the United States, whoever gets elected, please, for the sake of all of the people in the United States, I speak on behalf of everybody, make it legal, Okay? Like,
I feel like
come on, it's over.
in this country, they'll make it legal, and then they'll make it illegal, and then they'll make it legal, and then they'll make it illegal. You know, like I just don't trust it. Like even if they do, like I'm like, oh really? Yeah. Like it's just they did that with gay marriage. They've done it with abortion.
Carissa's
like,
words, not mine.
But they do it. They just go back and forth about things.
I know. Ugh.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, going back on forth and things, think it's time we wrap this little cocksucker up. And
Wrap it up.
what was I gonna say? Oh, you know where to find Karissa. You can find her on Instagram at American Groove Pod. We're still there. We're alive. Hello. And if you want to check out more of the podcast, you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Lost in the Groove Pod. So, with that, we bid thee farewell. Till next time.
Peace out. Thanks
Peace
for
out.
listening.
Peace out, motherfuckers.